Today I'll be doing a video, the mystery behind the creation of the world. This is something I've been thinking about for some time now. I think that wherever there is mystery, there is a need for intellectual penetration. If understanding, knowledge is arrived to, the interesting thing about knowledge is that knowledge can be sought. Knowledge can exist independent of human sense perceptions. So, trying to find the mystery behind something like the creation of the world, really interesting stuff. One of the things about the mystery behind the creation of the world is the origin of God's will in the creation of it. With most things in existence, actions can be thought of as being simplistic. A regular human creature acts for its own benefit, provided it feels entirely justified in acting for its benefit. And I think that there's something similar with God, but when God decided to decree the creation of the world, He wasn't thinking solely about his own self, his own self-glorification. Plenty of scriptures are there to support that. For some creatures it's like they act to benefit themselves without considering other creatures or something else in existence. Whereas with God, so many different scriptures, and in the affliction of the chosen, God is also afflicted. So, the origin of God's will for self-glorification, it's not all self-serving, it's not all about God. he is considerate of the implications of something like the creation of the world for the chosen. And that is admirable. I think it goes back to how God is love. Back to the origin of God's will and his self-glorification. It's difficult to grasp, but I don't think it's as simple as God wanting to do something which will be in his interests. I don't think it's as something as simple as that. I think that the origin of God's will is self-glorification. I think that it came down to God coming to the recognition or God having the understanding that his self-glorification is the greatest good which could ever be achieved. And I don't think that God at all took it lightly. And he decreed the creation of the world for reasons already mentioned. In the affliction of the chosen, he was also afflicted. I think that in the mystery of the creation of the world, I think that God saw something, things like creation and birth, something to do with individual personalities. I think that every human which has ever existed, I think that there is something very unique in individual identity. I think that there's an inner an inner nobility to things like individual identities and individual personalities. No two people are exactly the same. Every individual is unique. So I think that there's some mystery in the creation of the world, because the profundity, every individual which has ever lived on the earth. The inner nobility of the personhood of a person. And that inner nobility, it exists independently of how one person views another. The inner nobility and the personhood of a person, oh, it's unique to the person. It's inalienable. No thing in existence can strip a person of the inner nobility which comes from the personhood of a person. Back to the deity being afflicted in the affliction of the chosen, and the mystery of the creation of the world. I think that there's some mystery in God proceeding to create the world, knowing that not only would he be afflicted in the affliction of the chosen, but he would also be grieved in his heart of making man and repenting that he made man. God appears to do something antithetical to his own interests. He creates the world because in his foreknowledge he already knows that he will foresee himself grieving over creating the world. Really though, God doesn't do something antithetical to his interests when he created the world. Because God understands that his self-glorification is the greatest good which could ever possibly be achieved. And just because he foresees himself grieving over the evil deeds of creatures, and just because he sees himself repenting that he made man, the face of the earth, just because of that, it doesn't mean that he did something antithetical to his interests. Only he appeared to have done something antithetical to his interests. When it comes to people's idea of suffering being a problem. I think that suffering in itself can't be thought of as being a problem. I think that suffering can at times be good, leading to growth in character, development of a lot of good qualities. Suffering is suffering, and it can't be thought of as a problem. For people which aren't sadists, it's like, it's not desirable. I think that people don't need to turn suffering into a problem. Because of that, I think suffering is something which humans just have to accept. Every human which has ever lived on the earth has suffered. When God created the world, He didn't want the world to be boring, mundane. He wanted the creation of the world to be something special. And it is special. Because human beings aren't two-dimensional, three-dimensional. Whoa!